The following is not meant for children, has been edited by Cute Stuff, and is brought to you by support from Patreon. Hello, and welcome back. I am MasterAelix, and this is MasterAelix's Build Love Time, or better known as MasterAelix's BLT. The videos in this series are where I go over character builds for some of my favorite RPGs. In this video, I plan to show, step by step, how to make a character build that I really enjoy, and explain why I enjoy it, and hopefully you will too. Now, I like to make fun and flavorful character builds, something that leans more into ROLE play instead of ROLL play. However, it never hurts to give yourself some numerical advantages from time to time. Now, my way is far from the only way to build characters. This is just one character built in a way I think is fun. Hopefully, I've done a good enough job that you would want to play and enjoy too. However, feel free to change things to make it a character that you want to play. As I go through this build, I'm going to go into detail onto what and why I select the things I do, but what I won't be doing is read the books to you. First off, that's very boring. Second, doing that removes the need for you to get your own book. I love these games and I love for you to support the publishers, so buy their books. Now, let's take the time to build this BLT.
Look, I don't want to work with Starscream. He is a lousy shot. And Soundwave, he has his own thing going. Thundercracker, please, won't you help me out?
Today's BLT is for the Transformers RPG by Renegade Games. This week's art is brought to us by Lori from Arts by Lori. She did this as an emergency piece of art for me in just a few hours on New Year's Eve, so I am eternally grateful. If you want art from her, do check her out on her Linktree, link down below. The character today is Ricochet, the Weaponizer, and his team of minicons. This bot's alt mode is a Cybertronian laser rifle. Ricochet may be a weaponizer, and this has made him a small bot with a big chip on his shoulder. The fact he has to be wielded by someone else, despite his immense power, is always a source of conflict within him. He resents the fact he cannot just shoot himself. So, he takes that anger out on his enemies, and if there's none of those around, maybe even his less than friends. Now, before I begin with the meat of this BLT, let me say this is, so far, the most complicated character I have built to date. This will be a longer video, as I will have to explain more. The Mode Master role is the most complicated role, and with minicons there's additional characters that will need to be addressed. I plan on covering all of the most important details, so this isn't an hour-long video. So, let's get cooking on this BLT, shall we? The books you'll need to get from Renegade Games to make the character as I've set it out here are the Core Rulebook, Decepticon Directive, and the Transformers 1 Sourcebook. So let's start off with all the stuff you want to grab before leveling up. Influence. Ricochet has two influences, the first being Bureaucrat from the Core Rulebook. The bonus this gives to lend assistance cannot be beat. Short, simple, and to the point. The second influence he has is Binary Bonded from Enigma of Combination. This grants him a special kind of companion, a Power Master minicon. This Power Master I have named Reload. Now, minicons are their own smaller characters, both in stat points but also in size. The rules are detailed in the Core Rulebook under Mode Master. Do check those out. But for right this moment, the important thing to note down is that Reload's purpose skill is Initiative. When nobody else is around to wield Ricochet in his alt mode, Reload is always there. With two influences, Ricochet is going to need a hang-up, and I chose Bad Temper from Decepticon Directive. This 100% fits the anger he feels for being powerful, but only when someone else uses him. Origin. To get Ricochet to work the way I want him to, I made him with the drone origin, copying the armory call origin. Both of these are from Decepticon Directive. As a drone, you gain the perk, A Hint of Independence. It grants you an imperfection and a bonus perk. The imperfection I went with this time is number 2, Fragile Chassis, because he deals damage and doesn't take it so well. The general perk I took for this is Partnered from Decepticon Directive. When you get this perk, you select a specific character to effect, and for this, I selected Reload. Trust me, it's totally worth it. As an armory call, the perk In the Right Hands lets you pick from a variety of forms, and he is an energy firearm, the stats of which are actually pretty nice. You're given a choice between laser or fire elements, and I went with laser. The drone origin lets you pick any one essence, so I selected the speed essence, and put that skill into targeting. Just a note here, the targeting skill is associated with another minicon's purpose skill, and that minicon is Lock. Role. Oh boy, Mode Master. I do enjoy Mode Master, but it is also the most complicated role in Transformers. So let's just roll out into it. The Cybertronian perk for Mode Master is normally fully hybrid, but I went with the variant Cog Flexibility from Decepticon Directive. This is far more useful for an armory call and a minion master. This role also gives us the Custom Frame perk, which allows us to pick our essence score progression. For Ricochet, the first should be Social, second is Speed, third is Smarts, and the fourth is Strength. I know this seems odd, but you'll have to trust me on this one. You'll also get Mass Shift, which is just really fun and kind of wacky perk. This has a great feel to it, and it can be quite flexible. And the last perk you get is Quick Change, which lets you transform faster. In this case, it's to transform from bot mode into firearm mode. When you need to get into action, it's best to do so quickly. Mode Master, like Drone, lets us pick our essence scores and associated skills. So I selected a +1 to the Smarts essence and put the skill into Alertness. And like before, this skill is associated with a minicon's purpose skill for the minicon Recoil. The other essence boost is a +1 to the Speed essence, which I put into Targeting skill. Focus. The focus for this build is Minion Master from Decepticon Directive. This focus is key to making Ricochet an absolute unit of a weapon. This focus is all about having many minicons working together. The perk you get, Minicon Affinity, gets you 2 more minicons to start. I went with Lock and Stock. Lock is the optic piece of the whole assembly, and his focus skill is targeting. Stock is just that, an extended stock. Their purpose skill is Persuasion. From here on out, all minicons that are not Reload are Firearm Enhancement Module minicons. More on that later in the video. This focus also gives you a +1 to your social essence, so I put that into Persuasion. Faction. The faction I picked for Ricochet is the High Guard from Transformers 1. While this does have prerequisites, we will get this covered easily in the Essence step. In my mind, he predates Megatron as the team's main armory call / weaponizer, and mechanically this is rock solid. The first perk it gives you, Deceptive Warfare, gives us options in combat. The second perk, One Bot Over Another, is so handy. Mode Master does not give you a lot of weapon options, so this lets us dip into higher ranks of weapons just a little bit. For this one, I chose the 2 limited weapon option. For the ranged weapon, I went with a heavy laser pistol because it's the closest weapon to Ricochet himself. As for melee, follow your spark. He won't be doing melee much, but this does perfectly lead us into gear. The gear I selected for Ricochet is focused on lasers. For his internal slots, I went with 2 heavy laser pistols. These are solid weapons and act much like Ricochet himself does when he is a weapon. The main downfall is their reload trait. In his hands, I gave him a laser rifle. I love to imagine that the rifle he carries looks just like himself, because that's just a silly idea and incredibly G1. Essence spread. Now this step is one of the most important steps because of all the minicons and their purpose skills. Now this also has the side benefit of being rather straightforward. So, following the suggested spread of 4-3-3-2, we want to build him like this. The +4 goes into the strength essence. All 4 points of skills go into intimidation. Intimidation is the purpose skill of the minicon barrel. Barrel is exactly that, a barrel extension for Ricochet. The first +3 goes into social essence, and all 3 of those skill points go into the persuasion skill. After that, the next +3 goes into smarts essence. These 3 skill points all go into alertness. The final +2 goes into speed essence, and both points are put into the targeting skill. So, before we move on, a note about minicons and why I selected the skills I did. So the main interaction of this whole build is the Armory Call, I am an energy weapon, and the Firearm Enhancement Module minicons, I make energy weapons better. To do this more than once, you'll need to have as much Energon as you can. Recharge is there to provide Energon to Ricochet, and then he can spend it on the minicons. The minicons will spend their Energon enhancing Ricochet. You want to make sure to hit up their focus skill at least 3 times, because each time Ricochet levels up in their focus skill, they get a +1 to the associated essence and skill, but you also get a +1 to a different essence and skill, or a minicon perk, but we won't get into those. You can raise the other essences, so you raise your minicon's Energon score. That's why the spread was so important, and to indicate clearly which skill is the purpose skill, so you can properly document things and get those Energon scores up. The higher the Energon score is across the whole team, the more times you can just turbo pump Ricochet into being an incredibly deadly weapon. Hey, you've made it this far into the video. Thank you for that. Seems like you're liking the video, so please show that you do by hitting the thumbs up button down below. Maybe leave a comment, tell me what you're enjoying. Alright, now with all of that's been established, let's get into the levels. This time we're going all the way to level 10 to get the complete build. Level 2. Level 2 lets us have a little more fun and utility with mass shifting. This level's perk, Hybridization, lets you pick from a list of really interesting options to help you use your mass shifts. In this case, I chose Replacement Part to help with survivability. This level also gives us a +1 to the social essence, which I put into the Deception skill. This is the purpose skill of the minicon Trigger. Level 3. Level 3 is where things start to snowball. Not only does the perk Minicon Hub make docking a free action for the minicons, but you can dock 2 at a time yourself. And you get another minicon. This time we get our friend Barrel. He was mentioned earlier. Level 3 gets us a +1 to our speed essence, and that skill point I'm putting into initiative. Level 4. Level 4 is amazing, and things really start going off the rails. Ricochet is going to grab the general perk Additional Minicon from Decepticon Directive. Thanks to other things, this gets us 2 more minicons. So welcome to the team, Recoil and Trigger. Your contributions to the Mega Gun mode is noticed and appreciated. As for the Essence boost, we put that into a +1 into the Smarts Essence. And while you could pick anything, I went with the Technology skill, just to spread things around a little. Level 5. This level leans back into the mass shifting with Jack of All Forms perk. This perk is very straightforward and simple to use, and that's why I like it. This level also gives us a +1 to Social Essence, which we put into Deception, helping trigger out again. Level 6. This level's perk, Command and Control, is so good because we've built Ricochet to lean into lending assistance, and with his minicons spreading their skills around, more so than Ricochet does, then it can be quite useful. Range is your friend. For this level, we put the +1 essence into Strength, and wanting to stay alive a little bit longer, I put that point into Conditioning. It's so selfish, I know. Level 7. Level 7 gets us another use of hybridization. There are so many good ones to pick from, such as Extra Shift, Steady Hands, or Weaponize. I selected Extra Shift to keep things a bit simpler. For this level, we get a +1 to the Speed Essence, and I put that into Initiative. We haven't helped out Reload enough. Level 8. Now this is where Ricochet can become a more independent combat monster. Yes, he commands a swarm of minicons, and he himself is a beast of a gun, but someone else has to use him. With this level, I chose the general perk Weapon Master from the core rulebook, and now, very suddenly, he's using his integrated weapons much more. This level gets Ricochet a +1 to the Smarts Essence, which I put the skill point into Technology. Most element weapons need Technology skill to use, and while the ones we use don't, other laser weapons open up to us now that we have more technology. Level 9. This level's perk, Quick Change 2, is another delightfully simple and straightforward option. Since we don't have any other forms, Firearm to Bot is the option we can pick, so that's handy. The bigger deal is a +1 to Social Essence, getting us a skill point into Deception, so Trigger can now get his Energon score up even higher. Level 10. Woo! Level 10! This perk, Minicon Maester, is great! It not only increases your toughness, but you get yourself another Minicon. Welcome to the team, buddy! I think I'll call you Radar. You'll be a scanner on Ricochet, and your purpose skill is Technology. You little smart guy, you. This level gets us a +1 to Social Essence, which I'll put into Deception to get Trigger up into the same levels as the others. Except you, Radar. And at this point, for what I wanted for Ricochet, I'm done. This guy is a complicated mess of moving parts, but totally worth it. You can get yourself a ton of extra hit points, extra toughness, and a metric ton of extra damage. This character is incredibly powerful, so be careful. Handle with care. This character can be a little hard to play because you're dependent on other characters. But that's why I built Reload into the mix. If you don't have a friend to carry you, make sure when Reload gets his bonuses, you also boost targeting so you hit with your Super Blast. Alternatives. With the careful precision and detail to make Ricochet and his team, there isn't a lot of room for alterations. I mean, there's always name changes and some freedom in the hybridization, but this guy was built with some very precise standards. The only real thing I could think of is to change the general perk at level 8 to be Mayhem Attack, to really focus in on all the minicons attacking, but that's not really what Ricochet's all about. And it is only now that I realize that I slightly overfocused on each of the minicons. I gave them each 4 level ups when they only needed 3. So feel free to grab a minicon perk for each on that 4th one. Oh, and maybe drop the alertness by 1 during the essence step and put that into Technology, so when Radar comes along, he'll have 3 levels too, also raising his Energon, making him part of the grand blasting experience. And with all that being said, here's where I'm going to say, thank you all for joining me. Please remember to like, comment, and of course subscribe. It's a little click for you, but a really big deal for me, and I greatly appreciate everyone who does. If you have enjoyed this video, check out the links down below for links to the artist, my editor, my Patreon campaign where you can find a variety of rewards including early access to all my videos, and a link to my merch. Thank you all for joining me, and I shall see you all on the next one. And I'd like to give a special shout out to all my patrons who help make these videos possible. Aaron Smith, Brian Pelfrey, Chris Armstrong, Dennis Detman, Harry Thompson, and Mark Milius. Thank you all so much for your contributions. I wouldn't have this channel without you. Thank you very much.